Tighten your grip, Raven. Okay. Or feel mine on your neck.
Imagine a world where it takes 8 hours to get into makeup, longer than your average Netflix binge session, where Lady Jessica's facial tattoos aren't just for show, they're her personal post-it notes for fear management. And where even the sun on Giedi Prime had to be extra goth, because why not? From tiptoeing of the film crew through the desert to the epic Sandworm riding sequence, and the unexpectedly risque nickname for those majestic ornithrobbers. Yes, you heard that right, ornithrobbers. This video has it all. Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to laugh our way through the behind-the-scenes chaos and marvel at the dedication, quirks, and sheer madness that brought this sci-fi epic to life. Sit tight, keep your Imodium handy, you'll understand soon enough, and let's get this spice-fueled party started. Stellan Skarsgård's grueling makeup marathon. Imagine committing to a job so intense that it takes you 8 hours just to get ready and another 2 hours to call it a day. 8 hours to get ready. Can you believe that? I mean, that's longer than it takes me to convince myself to get out of bed on a Saturday. Seriously, by the time he's done with makeup, I've already binge-watched an entire season of my favorite show, twice. And let's not forget the 2-hour wrap-up. If I had to sit in a chair for 10 hours just to transform into a character, I'd expect to emerge looking like a Hollywood superstar. But instead, he's just popping Imodium like it's candy. It's like, congrats, Stellan. You've mastered constipation as an art form. Who needs a bathroom break when you're trying to take on the universe, right? Lady Jessica's fear-fighting face ink. Now, speaking of intense transformations, let's talk about Lady Jessica and her facial tattoos. Her tattoos are all about the Bene Gesserit litany against fear. Forget yoga and deep breathing. She's just got "I'm terrified of spiders" inked right on her forehead. I mean, how brilliant is that?
Excuse me, sir. I can't recount my fears. I've tattooed them in a very conspicuous area.
I mean, talk about a conversation starter. Greig Fraser's infrared imagination. Greig Fraser, the mastermind cinematographer behind Dune, Part 1 and 2, had a brilliant idea for shooting the sequence on Giedi Prime, the Harkonnen homeworld. He suggested using infrared cameras to give the skin a translucent texture. He was like, nothing says alien planet, like making everyone look like glow-in-the-dark jellyfish. Imagine telling your cast, hey, we're going to use special cameras to make your skin look see-through. It's not creepy at all, it's just a casual day on set. The result? A hauntingly beautiful, yet utterly unsettling portrayal of the Harkonnen homeworld. Fight scene is drenched in a black and white infrared color palette, all thanks to a black sun that the planet orbits around. Yep, a black sun. Because apparently, the universe of Dune needed to up the goth factor. This is the first time Giedi Prime's sun has been shown in any Dune adaptation, and they made sure it was as dark and edgy as possible. The unseen stars. Stephen McKinley Henderson and Tim Blake Nelson went through all the trouble of filming scenes, portraying Thufir Hawat and Count Hasimir Fenring respectively. And guess what? They were cut entirely from the finished film. It's like spending hours cooking a gourmet meal, only to have it tossed in the trash. But hey, they did get a special thanks in the ending credits. After all, nothing says we appreciate your effort like a tiny mention after 2 hours of credits scroll by. Imagine their friends and family watching the movie, waiting to see their big scenes, only to have them end up as an afterthought. At least they can say they were part of Dune. Kind of.
It's that the movie was too long. It wasn't that I the performance up. Yeah. I love Denis. I had a great time, and I hope I get to do something with him again.
Austin Butler's kiss of improvisation. Austin Butler went all out for his role as Feyd Rautha, even improvising a scene where he kisses Baron Harkonnen. Talk about getting into character. But let's not forget, he wasn't the first choice. Bill Skarsgård, son of Stellan Skarsgård, and Barry Keoghan were both considered for the role before Butler swooped in. And if that wasn't enough, Ty Sheridan and Harry Styles were also serious contenders. Yes, Harry Styles as Feyd Rautha. Imagine Harry Styles be like, "You may have brought swords, but I brought my frilled Gucci dress with a jacket." Butler didn't just stop at improvising kisses. He underwent vocal training to sound more like Stellan Skarsgård. Stellan had no clue about this decision and was genuinely taken aback the first time he heard it. Picture him thinking, wait, did I just hear myself? Austin Butler clearly aimed to make an impression, both on screen and in his co-star's ears.
May thy knife chip and shatter.
The linguistic melting pot of Chakobsa. The Freemen of Dune don't just speak any old language. They speak Chakobsa, which isn't just some sci-fi gibberish. It's a linguistic cocktail derived from real-life Arabic, with a generous splash of French, Greek, Romani, and Slavic. And because that wasn't eclectic enough, it also features heavy alterations from Hebrew and Sanskrit. So, if you ever find yourself chatting with a Freeman, Don't be surprised if their language sounds like a chaotic blend from your last multicultural potluck. Seriously, I didn't even know that was a language until now. I'm just glad they didn't try to add a Klingon dialect to spice things up.
Hot so swish, cold.
The desert dance of filming crew. Villeneuve and Greig Fraser didn't just pick any old desert for the film. No, they scouted for specific sand dunes with just the right shape that Villeneuve envisioned, or the perfect sun orientation that Fraser needed. Imagine being so particular about your sand that you audition dunes like they're vying for an Oscar. To keep the desert views as pristine as a Zen garden, the crew had to adhere to strict discipline. They walked in tight corridors to avoid disturbing the sand with footprints before filming. Picture a film crew tiptoeing through the desert like they're sneaking past a sleeping dragon. And when the day's shooting was done, a special sand team swept the sands to erase any traces of human presence for the next morning. Yes, a team dedicated to making sure the sand looked untouched. Nothing says dedication like meticulously grooming a desert. Austin Butler's transformation into Feyd Rautha. To play Feyd Rautha, Austin Butler had to pack on 25 pounds of muscle. Apparently, being a villain in the Dune universe requires you to look like you can bench press a sandworm. Denis Villeneuve described Feyd Rautha Harkonnen as a cross between a psychopathic killer, an Olympic swordmaster, a snake, and Mick Jagger. Villeneuve was like, why settle for one archetype when I can blend 4 into a cocktail of chaos? Interestingly, Mick Jagger himself was once attached to play Feyd Rautha in Alejandro Jodorowsky's Dune adaptation in the 1970s. So Butler had some big, swagger-filled shoes to fill, plus a lot of muscle to build. The epic Sandworm ride. The Sandworm riding sequence took a whopping 44 days to film on a massive set measuring 90 by 24 feet. Cinematographer Greig Fraser initially wondered, how the heck are we going to do that? Filming in the heart of the Jordanian desert, the crew had to build 18 miles of new road to transport equipment and establish base camps. None of the sets were recycled from the first film. Everything was created specifically for this movie. Talk about dedication to detail. Dune ticket frenzy. When tickets for Dune Part 2 went on sale, the demand was so intense that AMC's website crashed. Yes, in a twist worthy of the sci-fi epic itself, the digital world couldn't handle the excitement for a movie about a desert planet. It's as if the entire internet collectively shouted, "Shut up and take my money!" and AMC's servers just threw in the towel. Zendaya, future director in the making? Villeneuve had high praise for Zendaya, noting that she's not just clever, but downright brilliant with a commanding presence. Even more impressive, she was always on set, even when she wasn't shooting. Instead of lounging in her trailer, she chose to sit between Villeneuve and cinematographer Greig Fraser, absorbing everything like a sponge. Villeneuve wouldn't be surprised if one day she decides to step behind the camera. Picture Zendaya going from delivering stunning performances to yelling action and cut as a director. If her acting prowess is any indication, Hollywood might just get another powerhouse director in the near future. Move over, Spielberg. Zendaya's coming for your chair. Paul Mahdi Atreides, the end times hero. Throughout the film, the locals refer to Paul as Mahdi, a name with deep roots in Arabic. Mahdi al-Muntathar, or Mahdi the Awaited, is a significant figure in Islam, prophesied to appear during the end times to cleanse the world of evil. Sounds familiar, right? Just like the Mahdi, Paul rises to absolute power, considered a living miracle, with a mission to rid the world of evil. So Paul isn't just another hero, he's the cosmic janitor destined to sweep away the universe's dirt. No pressure, Paul. Just another day saving the world and fulfilling ancient prophecies. Christopher Walken's accidental Dune connection. Christopher Walken, who plays Emperor Shaddam IV, unknowingly had a Dune connection years before. He starred in Fatboy Slim's 2001 music video Weapon of Choice, which slyly references Dune with lines like, "Don't be shocked by the tone of my voice," and "Walk without rhythm, and you won't attract the worm." Walken had no idea about this connection until a GQ interviewer clued him in. Classic Walken, just dancing through life. In the book, Emperor Shaddam IV is described as an old man who looks like he's in his 30s. Fans had a field day nominating actors like Mads Mikkelsen, Viggo Mortensen, Tony Leung Chiu-wai, Denzel Washington, and Charles Dance, guys over 50 who could pass for much younger. But in a twist of fate, they went with Walken in May 2022. After all, when you need an emperor, why not choose the guy who can dance on walls and has an unintentional Dune resume? Lady Margot Fenring finally makes the cut. For the first time in live-action Dune history, Lady Margot Fenring graces the screen in Dune Part 2. She was notably absent from Dune 1984, Dune 2000, Children of Dune 2003, and even Dune Part 1 2021. It's like she's been on a perpetual coffee break from the franchise. Before Léa Seydoux landed the role, the casting directors were on a star-studded roller coaster, considering Elizabeth Debicki, Eva Elfie, oh my bad, I meant Eva Green. Also, Ashley Adams. Damn, I did it again. I mean Amy Adams, Natalie Dormer, Olivia Taylor-Dudley, and Gwyneth Paltrow. Quite the lineup of contenders for a character who's finally decided to show up to the party. Welcome to the desert, Lady Margot. Better late than never. Denis Villeneuve's vision of Paul's visions. In a 2024 interview with That Shelf, Denis Villeneuve explained his take on Paul's visions. They're like powerful intuitions or dreams you need to decipher, not precise. More about the emotion and context. Essentially, Paul's visions are like solving a puzzle blindfolded. Villeneuve loves that some of Paul's early visions are distorted, unfolding in reality as something completely different. It's like getting a weather forecast that predicts sunshine, but you end up with a blizzard. In the book, Paul foresees multiple possibilities, and Villeneuve tried to capture this cinematic chaos. Because what's more fun than your prophetic visions being as reliable as a malfunctioning GPS? Paul's wild ride. Paul's first ride on a sandworm is Denis Villeneuve's favorite sequence in the film, because nothing says cinematic masterpiece like a teenager surfing a gigantic, deadly worm in the middle of a desert. Villeneuve must have had a blast directing this scene, probably thinking, you know what this epic saga needs? A bit of extreme sports. Imagine Paul clinging for dear life, trying to look heroic, while essentially riding a massive, pissed-off earthworm. It's like the universe decided to throw in a rodeo just to spice things up. Villeneuve's delight in this scene speaks volumes about his vision. Brian Herbert's seal of approval. Frank Herbert's son, Brian Herbert, hailed Part 2 as the best adaptation of his father's work he's ever seen. After a private studio screening, he found it gratifying to see the story told with such care. Combined with Dune Part 1, he declared it the best film interpretation of the classic novel to date. High praise from the heir to the Dune legacy. The Horny Throbbers. In an interview with Real Blend, Rebecca Ferguson let slip a juicy tidbit.
When our characters are kidnapped, right before we get thrown on the Ornithopter, which we keep on calling we had sex names for everything, and it's really annoying because I keep on mixing it up, and in interviews I have to bite my tongue. The Ornithopter is a horny throbber.
Wait. Yes, you heard that right. These majestic dragonfly-like flying machines were given a nickname straight out of a risque comedy sketch. Picture the scene on set, the crew trying to maintain their professional composure while discussing the day's schedule for the Horny Throbbers. Kudos to Ferguson for keeping a straight face while flying around in what sounds like a device you'd probably find in a locked drawer. Dave Bautista's commitment. This guy is a beast, right? His character, Beast Rabin, gets beaten and humiliated by Feyd Rautha. Bautista's agent told him, hey, maybe don't film that scene. It'll make you look weak. And Bautista was like, nah, I'm good. I want to elevate Feyd Rautha as the true villain. I mean, how dedicated do you have to be? Most actors would be like, can I just get a coffee and a sandwich instead? I'm good on the humiliation. But Bautista? He's in there like, I'm willing to take a beating for the story. So, Bautista took one for the team, allowing himself to be the punching bag for the greater good of the story. Denis Villeneuve's nod to David Lynch. Denis Villeneuve decided to throw a salute to David Lynch, the director of the original Dune. In Lynch's Blue Velvet, there's a scene where Kyle MacLachlan finds a severed human ear crawling with ants. So what does Villeneuve do? He zooms in on Stellan Skarsgård's ear at the end of Dune, and guess what? Yup, you guessed it, ants. Now, I'm no film critic, but isn't that a little, gross? But hey, that's why we love these filmmakers, right? They keep pushing the boundaries of our stomachs. Hey, you twisted minds. Thanks for sticking around and soaking up all that juicy, gritty trivia about Dune Part 2. For more twisted facts and behind-the-scenes madness, smash that subscribe button. If you don't, well, I hear those sandworms are always on the lookout for fresh meat.